It started with little things that were easy to brush off as coincidence or forgetfulness, keys that went missing, files that were moved from their usual spot, flickering lights. We all shrugged it off, just chalking it up to the quirks of an old building. But as time went on, the events became harder to ignore. Things started happening when people were alone in the office, strange noises that couldn't be explained, and movements in the corners of people's eyes. We were all on edge, but nobody wanted to admit it. It wasn't until the day that the power went out that we all started to feel like something was seriously wrong. The darkness was overbearing, and the only light came from the faint glow of emergency exit signs. We fumbled around trying to find each other in the pitch blackness. That's when we heard the footsteps. It was impossible to tell where they were coming from, but they were definitely getting closer. We all huddled together, our hearts pounding, unsure of what to do. Then, just as suddenly as they had started, the footsteps stopped. There was a moment of silence, and then we heard a voice. It was faint and scratchy, like it was coming from far away, but we could all hear it clear as day. "Hello," the voice said. "Is anyone there?" We were all frozen in terror, but one of us managed to find our voice. "Who are you?" they asked. "I'm stuck," the voice said. "I've been wandering around in here for so long, I don't know where I am." "In where?" another one of us asked. "The void," the voice said. We all looked at each other in confusion. What the hell is the void? We had never heard of anything like that before. "Can you help me?" the voice asked. We were all hesitant, unsure of what we were getting into, but something about the desperation in the voice made us want to help. We started moving forward, cautiously at first, but then more confidently as we heard the voice guiding us. We stumbled through the darkness, our hands outstretched, our eyes straining to see anything at all. And then suddenly, there was a glimmer of light. It was coming from a door that we had never seen before. It was small and unassuming, but somehow it felt like the most important thing in the world. We all rushed towards it, pushing and shoving each other in our eagerness to get through. And then we were through, and everything changed. The light was blinding, and we all had to shield our eyes for a moment until they adjusted. And then we saw where we were. We were in a hallway, a long and narrow hallway that seemed to stretch on forever. The walls were yellow and peeling, the ceiling was stained with years of water damage, and the floor was made out of wood that felt like it would break any second. But the strangest thing about it was that there were no doors, no windows, no way out. The door we came through was also gone. We all stood there, staring in horror, until we heard the voice again. "Come on," it said. "We have to keep moving." We all started to walk, our feet echoing loudly in the empty hallway. It was so quiet that we could hear each other breathing, hear our hearts pounding in our chests. We walked and walked, but the hallway never seemed to end. And then, just when we were all starting to think that we were going to be trapped there forever, we saw another door. This one was bigger, and it had a strange symbol carved into it that we couldn't identify. We pushed it open, and we stepped through. And that's when things started to get even stranger. The room we found ourselves in was unlike anything we had ever seen before. It was vast, stretching out in all directions, with towering shelves that reached up to the ceiling. And on those shelves were rows and rows of objects, all dusty and forgotten. There were boxes and crates, old computer equipment, furniture, and even stacks of paper that looked like they had been there for decades. We were all overwhelmed by the sheer scale of it, and we stood there in silence for a few moments, just taking it all in. And then we heard the voice again. "Over here," it said. We followed the sound, weaving our way through the maze of objects until we came to a small corner of the room. And there, sitting in the middle of it all, was a figure. It was hard to make out at first, but as we got closer, we could see that it was a man. He was hunched over, his face obscured by a hood, and he was surrounded by piles of objects. He looked up as we approached, and we could see that his eyes were wide and wild, like he had been trapped in there for a long time. "You have to help me," he said. "I've been stuck in here for so long. I don't even remember how I got here." We were all hesitant, unsure of what to do. But then we heard a sound, a low humming noise that seemed to be coming from all around us. And then we saw movement, shadows darting in the corners of our vision. And then we realized that we weren't alone. They were watching us, and we could feel their eyes on us. It was enough to make our skin crawl, and we all started to back away. And that's when the man started to change. It was subtle at first, just a slight twitching in his fingers. But then his whole body started to convulse, and we could hear a sound like cracking bones. And then he was changing, his body warping and contorting until it was something else entirely. We all screamed and ran, pushing past each other in our haste to get away. We ran and ran till we thought it was safe. We wandered through the void for what felt like days. We lost track of time, lost track of everything, always looking for a way out but never finding one. It was like we were going in circles, and all the while the things in the void followed us, waited for us. We started to lose hope, started to accept that we were trapped there forever. But then we found another door. This one was different from the others, made of metal and with a heavy lock. But we were so desperate that we didn't care. We pounded on it, screamed for help, did anything we could think of to get it open. And then, miraculously, it gave way. We tumbled out into the light, blinking and disoriented. We were back in the office. We all hugged each other, grateful to be alive. But as we sat there, catching our breath, we realized that something was wrong. We weren't alone. There was something in the office with us, something that had followed us out of the void. We could feel it, its presence looming over us like a shadow. And then we heard the voice, the same voice that had led us into the void. "Hello," it said. "Is anyone there?" We all froze, unsure of what to do. And then we heard a shuffling sound, and we saw movement out of the corner of our eye. And then we saw it. It was a figure, standing in the shadows. It was tall, impossibly so, with long limbs that seemed to stretch out into the darkness. And its face was twisted and distorted, like it was wearing a mask made of human skin. We all screamed and ran, but we didn't get far. The thing was too fast, too powerful. It caught us one by one, dragging us back into the void. I don't know how many of us made it out alive. We all got separated. Maybe they are trapped in the void as well. Maybe they escaped. I'm not sure. All I know is that the void is real, and if anyone finds this story, please don't fall for the same trick we did. I guess I didn't really think this out too well. If you are finding this paper, it's probably too late. I hope you have better luck than we did.